What it do? One thing that I wanted to address was that, and I'm sure people aren't looking at all the damn videos, but I've said some very personal things and practically some stuff that maybe would be embarrassing looking back at it. But during that time, I'm thinking, fuck it, I got nothing to lose because leading up to my mom's death, I literally was mentioning to myself, like, you're at rock bottom right now. No car, no job, what do I have to lose? It's very susceptible, vulnerable to put myself out here, and which really has been why I was fearful all these years. I've made videos like this, just like this, really ever since 2019 when I first came back to from Houston, but too fearful to even put them out there. And even now, I know I could be doing better, editing videos, having scripts, having some format, and eventually, on a long enough time frame, it will get to that if I'm consistent and just do not stop. But I've been very vulnerable. I've said some things about myself. I think it's embarrassing, to say the least, to say that I haven't been working. I haven't been, and I haven't had a car for 3 years. I don't pay rent, barely, DoorDash and little shit, but it's really just tying up loose ends, being pussy whipped by a female, just having her tell me what to do all the time, no disrespect to her. Um, Down to family drama, talking about things my family's been up to or my reaction to certain type of things. Particularly, I'm thinking about a video where I was very upset about my mom's death and her daughters that were taking care of her leading up to that point. You know, I've never been violent, bro, but I feel like I put some very negative energy out there, and I knew it was the same way I knew it's embarrassing for me to talk about not working, not having a car. It's embarrassing to say I've had females pay my way for me. It's embarrassing to say, I've had drama with family per se, and, I felt certain type of way about them. Um, I've never been violent. My dad even told me, because when my mom passed and I was upset at my half sisters for even allowing this to happen, saying, oh, they could have done more. But, my dad even said in that moment where I was like, I'm pissed off, I want to fucking hit somebody or something. He's like, that's so unlike you. You're not really like, you're not he knows I'm not a type of person to really blow my top, to get mad. I'm not really a violent person to where like I'll just start fighting. That's just not me. But during this particular video, I was upset with these girls and saying like I want to do something. I want to smack the shit out of your husband or something. But I'm pretty sure even in the video I was saying, I don't really want to do that. That's not me. You know, and really leading up to my mom's funeral, when I went there, like everything just washed away anyway. I wasn't going to go. My girl pushed me, and that's good because I had some closure. I didn't need closure with my mom per se, but I needed closure with the girls, her daughters, to at least leave it in a position to where we can be in each other's lives, because I did get in an argument with them. Um, but it was good to see them and say, I want peace. I know mom would have wanted it this way. And so due to that, I'm indebted to the girl that I'm dating now, because, she got me to get up and go see my mom right now. Before she passed, she's like, let's go today. Don't put it off. So I was able to see my mom while she was responsive before she stopped communicating. And even during that time, she wasn't able to talk, but at least she was able to like nod her head and like pat me and hold my hand. And I feel like she prayed over me, even though she wasn't able to speak. It was an experience, you know. So, and so due to my girlfriend, yeah, I mean, I even got down there because what? I stay in San Antonio. My mom was in Round Rock. That's about 2 hour drive, really, with traffic and everything. Hour and a half, 2 hours. Got down there anyway because of her, and got to see my mom while she was still responsive. That's a blessing because my sister didn't get to see her like that. And I know my sister has guilt because she didn't see her mama, you know, while she was still alive. And I got that, so I have a sense of closure with that. But also because of my girlfriend, you know, I went to the funeral, which I didn't even want to, which I guess it really wasn't a funeral, more of a memorial service because there was no casket or anything, just a picture. And they already buried her, which made my sister Sarah upset. But the whole time I just had peace, you know, and due to my girlfriend, I would say, very encourageable, practically yelling at me. We've gotten in arguments the whole time because I was resistant, saying I don't want to go. And I went there and I kind of knew because I heard a small still voice perhaps saying, you know, I know you don't want to go, but go on in there, man, because this might be the last chance that you get to have some closure with the girls, her daughters. You know, I had perfect peace and closure about my mother, but it was good to speak with them. I spoke with every daughter of her, the half sisters. They're my sisters, I guess, but I never really called them that. I had resentment. But I think due to those encounters, I was like, you know what? I can see at least having some form of relationship now. Because I had good speaking with each individual. And at the very least, send them a postcard on Christmas or call them or something to where I left it on a good note rather than the last time we spoke was an argument. So that was good. Um, it's really made me wonder. I don't know if this girl is the one for me, but I know that in this particular instance, she has been very helpful in a lot of regards. You know, even housing me for the past 2 years. You know, I've never really pitched in on rent like that. But it's just something I've been thinking about because I think it's kind of embarrassing on the video where I said I broke character, you know, and I was yelling and I was upset. It's like I even knew in that moment that's not me. You know, I'm not one to get prone to anger like that and get mad at somebody or to wish violence upon them. Like, even saying it, I was like, I don't really want this. I don't want it. You know, I don't even want them to see pain. I don't, you know. So that's a little embarrassing. You know, it's embarrassing that I haven't been paying rent, not paying my way, not being responsible. You know, I'm comfortable. I'm in a house. I've been fed. I have coffee. Simple things. But my whole objective of these videos were so that I could document it really for myself. Because when I started doing this, I'm thinking I'm at rock bottom. I kind of knew I'm at rock bottom. You know, I'm not progressing, not doing anything. Like, how worse can it get? Might as well document and say I'm a piece of shit, you know, who's doing the, or not doing anything. But the objective, again, on a long enough time span, is to be productive, to do something out of this. Perhaps start editing and make more inclusive videos or more descriptive videos, or make something more constructive, or at the very least start talking positive about myself, because I've had such a negative talking about myself. And at the very most, see a transformative uh, season in my life where perhaps I start talking positive, perhaps I keep a job, perhaps I get a car, perhaps I start my own business, perhaps I start a nonprofit program in memory of my mother. Or do you just keep on doing this? I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see it. And, God bless, given that you even get the grace to live more years, let alone use those uh, to progress. I'm not even supposed to be here. When my mom was pregnant with me, um, I was all twisted, so the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck. And I believe it was going to be like a dangerous surgery, risking even my mother's life to try to fix that. This was in Austin. I was born in Austin, and the preacher and his wife, the church that they were going to, um, came, prayed over my mother, specifically the wife of the pastor, laid hands on my mom, prayed over her, and miraculously turned so the umbilical cord was released from my neck. And my dad said he remembers particularly the day that it happened. And the nurse was like, oh my gosh, like it's a miracle. Like she even said something to that degree, like this is miraculous, like totally just twisted around, that's a miracle. Like the very next day, so like it's a blessing even to be here 29 years. You could have not made it at all. You could have lost your mother at birth. It'd be a disgrace to waste any more time, uh, to even have the prideful thought of thinking that you're going to make it another day, another year, to put stuff off, to not teach someone something, to touch someone's life, to help somebody out of a problem. It'd be a disgrace to waste your time, any more time. And frankly, I don't think you have any more time, it being the last of the last days. Time's coming to an end, brother. So it really isn't about you anyway. We got people to save, man. Physically, spiritually. I hope to continue these videos, but be more versatile, be more mobile, to get better at my craft, and just really track the next, really 7 years, because I really have been documenting the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So I kind of have already been documenting it. Um, I got 7 more years, really. And really, for me, 3. Because I'm trying to be self-sustaining in 3 years. And just track where this goes. And, Lord's favor, I accomplish my so-called goals. For 5 years straight, I've had the same goals, and it may be minuscule, uh, dumb little stuff, but I've just wanted a fresh outfit, some clothes that I actually like. I wear the same clothes for years, bro, and never go out and get something that I actually like. You know, my first job, 2013, it was fast food, but I got a pair of Jordans, you know, some shoes that I actually like. I've never done stuff just for me. I've never cared about myself. And due to my self neglect, how you treat yourself is how you're going to end up treating the world. So you think you're hating on yourself, but in reality, it has no choice but to outshine onto others how you feel about yourself. So you may treat others better than yourself, but it's so sticky, somehow you're going to affect others being harsh to yourself. You have to be the best version of yourself to add to others, whether it be physically, economically. You know, like I heard it said, I could have saved my mother. I think that's why I was so mad with my sisters. Yeah, I'm the youngest, but I'm the male. I'm the man in a household full of nothing but women, all sisters. And I'm the last of the family name on both sides. Mom's side, dad's side, I'm the last male. So yeah, it sucked at 24 thinking, oh, I don't want to take care of this. Like I got sisters that are older than me, you know, by a decade. They should be taking care of this. But what? You knew what to do. Get a physical therapist for your mother. Get a nutritionist for your father. Move your mama down here into a place, right? Really angry with myself, you know. I've never cared about money, but if you were financially steady, you would have been able to take care of all these things. You could have prolonged your mom's life, you know. What are you gonna do? Another thing I'd like to note is I'm on 19 days of retention. This is the longest I've gone, personal record. I think the longest I've gone is uh, last year when I worked at that fast food place, which was also my first job. 10 years later, found myself working there again with my one of my good friends, one of my best friends. And I just knew it was all for a reason. It was humbling because I'm like, here I am 10 years later, still working fast food, or at least, you know, went to all these places, explorations of different job careers, and I still found myself working at fast food, let alone the same company that I worked at 10 years ago as my first job. And I was like, there's a reason for this. 10 years later, literally, and I'm working here again. There's got to be a reason for it. I quit that job. I sold my car when I didn't need to. I didn't fix a car that my girl was trying to give me. This was all 2023, 2022. Really last year. All happened last year. But yeah, I guess during that time, you know, I've been trying to do the retention on and off, on and off. And that's the thing about it. Like I've heard it said is like you go from a young man programmed into thinking that releasing your energy is healthy for you, that it's natural. Indulge yourself. And then practically having sexual explicit images everywhere, especially online, which can be triggering. Movies, social media, everywhere, right? So, you know, can't speak about women, don't know, I'm a man. But on a man's view, you shouldn't be looking constantly in that sexual mode, in that, you know what I'm saying? And it's everywhere. So a man's thinking about it constantly. And I've heard it said from like one of these pastors saying like it's like a factory. And once you get that factory running, it speeds up and it's harder to stop. Right? And in reality, young men, man, should really only be trying to participate in such things with the only idea of procreation. I want a child out of this. It shouldn't really be for pleasure. I'm starting to think like if it happens maybe, but it really should not be your main focus. And it's kind of hard to diverge in this society where it's everywhere. I think in part that's why I've cut out social media. I don't watch the news, so I don't try to allow that to enter into my emotional field saying this is wrong or this is going on. There was a time when I had a flip phone a few years ago, I think before I went to Houston, and I quite enjoyed finding out about the news, going to Taco Cabana and looking at the TV and seeing that this happened, or just felt more natural to like catch it on TV, to talk to a human. My favorite thing is talking to somebody, my dad, my friends, and they say, oh, this happened. I'll be like, oh, really? I didn't know. Tell me more about it. Like that's more of a natural occurrence. I would much rather hear the news that way, like through the catching it on TV by chance, going to the gym, seeing it on TV, or having a friend or family member tell me about what's happening. Because the real priority would be, is there civil war out in the street? Like, is there something? Because other countries got bombs and wars and other shit going on. Do we have that? Because that's frankly would be my main concern, finding it necessary to look at news. Okay, is there something happening within our territory, within our, area? I mean, it's good to stay updated, know what's going on nationally, know what's going on statewide, citywide, but don't just be looking at it all day, every single day. If it's not really affecting your well-being. On a long run, it affects your well-being, but you can plan ahead. You can make investments. You can be independent, whatever. Anyway, I'm just ranting now, but it's like the society has young men thinking that, oh, it's okay to self-indulge, right? When it's quite contrary. They say, oh, it's healthy for a young man to help himself out. No. In fact, you're killing your own body. Cells in your body. right? You conserve your energy. Uh, even Dick Gregory, the OGG, triple OG, he would say how when a man finishes, electricity is emitted in his body. And you could view that as electricity, literally electricity, to connect to the universe or whatever. That's that power to create a baby, a living thing, that electricity that's emitted. And you emit that electricity consistently. It's only supposed to be to make life. And I know it's hard. Hey, look, I've been addicted to the P word since I was in middle school. And I discovered the internet, right? But the whole objective is that there's a misconstrued message that a young man, it is healthy for you to indulge and help yourself out, let alone go out and meet with all these ladies and just be safe about it. You're creating a connection with these women. Matter of fact, if these women have been with multiple partners before you, their soul has been intercepted by other males, and a piece of that male is still in them. And you're going to, as a result, get an effect of that. They're going to talk away, act away, feel away due to the soul tie of indulging with another human being, another male. And you're going to reap the effects of that, regardless, whether it's subconscious, subtle, may not be harsh all in your face. But whether you like it or not, these women have a connection, a soul tie to any man that they've been with. So in this culture of just hookup culture and men getting with all these girls, you don't understand. You're giving a part of your soul away. A woman is receiving a part of your soul. Call it what you want. And it comes across in different ways, but I'm just saying, if you think about it like this, and it even goes so far to say, if you are looking at that P word online, your soul's connecting to that person, whether they feel it or not, just by finishing and viewing this video, which means you're having an artificial soul connection. And it's not cool. It sounds cool, but it's not. You have to be very particular who you have a soul tie with. So that, and people being so loose with creating soul ties with multiple people, luckily to a degree, and I have been inappropriate. I have cheated on this girl because, what? I don't speak up for myself. Therefore, I broke my own morals and cheated on her, which I've never done before. But infidelity. So even something like that, I haven't gone too crazy. I haven't had a lot of partners, but that's in sense kind of due to me being so socially shy from being homeschooled all my life, not really going out there. And if I, like when I first came back to San Antonio, I got on these dating apps due to my friends saying to do it, but it's like I couldn't even really do it because like I gotta, and maybe this is grace of God too, crazy talking about this subject, but it's like I have to be comfortable with a female. Like I can't just meet you and we do get active. I have to like see you a couple times, and that's just how I am. I'm just different. I've always been different from everybody else. Even smoking, when I first started smoking, everyone's having a good time. I would just get paranoid. So the fact that I'm still smoking like 15 years later is crazy. people usually smoke and they get really hungry. I smoke and I don't want to eat. Like, I'm just different than everybody else. Um, and like with relations with women, like I usually have to like be familiar, hang out with them for a while. So, I can't, I've never been one to just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Kind of like how growing up seeing Jersey Shore and how they portrayed it, you know, um, I just never could see myself doing something like that, where I just go to a club, hook up, and then just move on the next day to the, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's just never really been me. My coffee's cold, which means it's probably time to end this. I've been talking for about 2.5 hours now, going on 3, so I think it's due time to start getting active. It's 12:48 p.m. I've been talking and talking and talking, but it's been a good run, bro, because I'm getting out all this stuff that I need to talk about. And really, this is my only time, because when my girlfriend's around, doing whatever she wants, spending time with her. But back to my basis, this is the longest run that I've been on, and it's been kind of definitely a battle for the past few years, because I've been trying to kind of do retention, on and off, always breaking it. A 14-day streak was my personal best uh, last year, working at this fast food joint. And I felt amazing. And now I'm at a 19-day streak, and I feel not so much the urge, which is miraculous, but even think about it, I keep thinking like I gotta prepare, because I feel like, if you don't produce something, if I don't start chopping wood, if I don't start getting a good job and working you know what I'm saying? Work at 2 jobs, work 12 hours a day, 17 hours a day, like, or go to school and go to work, or, go on 6 hour walks. Like, use your time if you don't have a job to fucking do push ups for 4 hours and do 6 hours of walking. That's stupid shit, supposedly. It's not making money, but it's like, don't sit around. Don't just be sitting around, B. Because I feel like it's coming. The challenge is coming. And that's just life in general, too. Like, your challenge is coming. That's all it is preparation and attack. That's it. Prepare, attack. Prepare. And that's life. When you look at the monitor at the hospital, it goes up, it goes down, and that is life. It cannot stay consistent, because if it's consistent, that is death. Life is not going to just be happy, whether you have the money, whether you're fulfilled, whatever. That's all it is. Just prepare, brother. Prepare, because you got to know something's coming. Whatever. What is that challenge to you? Is it working out? Is it the financial? Is it relationship wise? What is your challenge? Family debates? What is it? What is the issue that you have? Because it's not going away, and you can't avoid it, and it's going to keep coming. It's coming back. It's coming. So all you can do is prepare for when that attack comes. What is it? Is it anxiety? Is it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of it is God. You got to be able to hand it to God. But prepare, brother. Don't think it's going away. And that's really where I'm at. I'm at a sense of peace. I initially started thinking, okay, I need to be serious about this retention, because my mother's funeral is coming up, and I feel like I got to be, ready for everything. there's been moments the last few days, the last couple of weeks where I've said, I'm happy, I'm on retention because I'm able to look people in their eye and not be ashamed. I saw a girl yesterday, beautiful woman, walking in the park. I didn't sexualize her. You know, I saw she was beautiful. She was wearing the type of athletic outfit that, you know what I'm talking about. But I was usually, when I'm out and about, I look down. I don't even acknowledge people. I just look at the ground. But you know, I see people and I acknowledge them. I was at orientation for a job that starts in February, and I just remember with all these people just standing there thinking, I'm happy. Uh, Perhaps pride. I have pride in the fact that I'm on retention right now. You know, I haven't lost my energy. Because for me, mainly, it is a spiritual thing. And the longest streak I've ever had was 14 days. Out of 365 days, the longest I went uh, was 14 days. And I felt very powerful. Combination of I was hitting high volume push ups, and I would feel up. I feel different this time around. I'm trying to get the sexual thoughts out of my mind. You know, I cannot deny, like, I went to the zoo yesterday or 2 days ago with my girl and beautiful women, but it was different. I was able to observe the women and I didn't have to necessarily look at their body. I was looking at them at a whole. I was looking at their face and appreciating the beauty. Still having my trip ups, you know, still trying to get active to a degree with my girl. And I think the way she is particularly is helpful in my mental fortitude and training because she doesn't necessarily want to get touched and stuff like that. She, you know, that's due to trauma and such, but I'm very kinesthetic, you know, and my mom told me that when I was a kid because I like to be on people, I like to hug them, stuff like that. And I think in a relationship, you know, I like a girl that, you know, wants to hold me or maybe lay her head on my shoulder, stuff like that, you know. And I don't want to be the one to have to go to you and grab you. You know, I want you to like grab me, hold my arms, you know, lay your head on to rest on my shoulder, stuff like that. Um, but to a degree, it's helpful in me fortifying my mental resilience. Even though, like, I'll keep trying with my female or try to touch her, and she'll be like, no, 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 no. You know, I don't want to be touched, stuff like that. And I was annoyed because the other day, this might be TMI, but she pleasured herself. She came in the room and she didn't even let me come in, not to watch, not to do nothing, right? And I felt a certain type of way because I'm like, you know, why is this? You know, we weren't, you know, what made her, because she was in her phone for the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So the way I'm thinking is like, okay, either somebody you're talking to or something you saw got you aroused and made you want to go in here, and it wasn't me. And it made me realize like I need to focus on myself, and I'm mentally and emotionally checked out of the relationship. I don't, you know, and whether it's subtle or whatever, I just feel it's all for a reason. You know, she started talking to somebody who's a dyke. It's a female, but there was just always a comment that her mom made that stuck with me, like that they messed around and stuff. And I'm sure they haven't, you know, I believe this woman to be truthful, and even regardless, like, I don't think she's really into females like that, but she does happen to have a lot of lesbian friends, but we won't even talk on it. But, she's not even really sexual like that. She's not really sexual in nature, trying to do stuff all the time. She can go long periods without having to indulge in it. And even though it would make me upset that, like, she doesn't want to participate, doesn't want to be touched, to a degree, I knew, like, this is how it's supposed to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to be indulging in that anyway. I don't need to even be looking at it. So the fact that she didn't want me to watch her or anything, there's a purpose for that. Even though I didn't quite enjoy it, I'm like, oh man, what the hell? But it's like, I knew I don't need to. And I have to admit, I've been caught myself slipping up by viewing the internet images and stuff like that, but not really so much to the point of arousal. But it's a thin line that you don't want to cross. And these are notes that I've taken actually with AI, but whatever, saying, oh, I was making these viewings, and I have to admit, there was a time where I was getting aroused and stuff, but then I realized, okay, gotta stop looking at it. And that's the one thing that I'm noticing with this streak going on 20 days. I would like to reach 21 days. I think there's a reason for all this. I shouldn't really, but there's a snowstorm coming in Texas, supposedly. It's going to be really cold on Monday and Tuesday. Maybe that will include lockdowns. I don't know. But I'm thinking, I don't want temptation to hit. And it's very interesting that if I were to prolong my streak to hit 21 days, that would be a personal record for me. And it would be just around the time of this snowstorm. So I'm thinking, it's coming. The challenge is coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't break. It's kind of a signal to me that this is a very detrimental time and you should keep it up. And, I didn't necessarily make a determining factor that I'm going to go X amount, but I'm trying to pay attention to things that I put in my calendar on Google Calendars on my phone. Because I'm like, if I put something, I kind of want to stick to it. I just remembered that I missed my weight day yesterday. I didn't do lightweight. But if it pops up on a reminder on my phone, I'm starting to do a thing where, like, okay, I want to kind of be determined to a bit to where I get this done and I do it. So if it's weightlifting, if it's going for a walk, if it's yard work, or whatever, I'll have a reminder set up to do it, either a daily reminder or a weekly reminder or whatever. And on my calendar, I said 30-day challenge. So we're 19 days into a 30-day challenge. And I just kind of threw that in there, in December, beginning of January, saying, 30-day challenge. But I didn't even know why or what the hell I'm talking about. But, that's kind of what I'm feeling, is that if I can make it to 30 days, let alone try to make it to 21 days, I think that this is a detrimental period right here. But, I've kept note and I've thought about it, how if you're trying to retain your energy, it's even more important to watch what you're consuming. Are you looking at explicit images or videos, right? Are you looking at women a certain type of way? Because even that, I believe, will lay down a foundation for a later occurrence for you to break your retention. And also, mainly, it's the energy. Now, I'm a Christian, but something that keeps staying in my mind is a Taoist, Taist. It's like Chinese. And due to my, it's in China, it's monks in the temple. I had to look it up and find out that it's different from Buddhist, even though I don't think it particularly has a God, but it's about going with the flow. It's about letting go of the past, or just letting go. Um, Taoist. So it is very interesting. And I started wondering about monks in China due to years ago, bro, when I was still wasting time, but I know everything's for a reason, you know. But I went to a library, and this is during a time where I said, if I'm not going to have a job or if I'm not going to work, at least I can go to a library and study, do something. And I went to a library and I'm reading books, just sitting in the library reading, and I found one about these monks in the mountains that do some meditation and breathing and can change their rhythm of their heart and stuff. And so that's just always been intriguing to me. Mind you, nonetheless, that I think the airflow in a car and the airflow in a human is vital for life. But I've never pressed on it for myself or teaching other people or whatever. But I've also always found that breathing for me, like there's been times where I've had too much caffeine and I've slept too little, and then I went to work and I just feel tense in my chest. I do this 10-minute meditation or 30-minute meditation and I will feel better. A guided breathing exercise and I will, feel better. And also less anxious when I would do these 10-minute breathing exercises before going into work. When I was working fast food last year, and I was like, man, I don't want to be involved with all this customer activity and all this interaction. Like, what the hell am I even doing here? And I'm getting anxious because I'm introverted, which is actually a lie. Just expose yourself more. But I'm like, I don't want to do this, talk to all these people, go work fast food. But I do the breathing exercise, feel a little tension released, and I go to work, I know I'm ranting and going off a little bit, but, I'm just, it just has me thinking, bro, because this is a pivotal, so I wanted to make note of it, that this is the longest time on retention. Um, Last time I had a streak was in October when my girl went on a trip to New Mexico and I had 2 weeks alone. So I went 14 days, and on the 14th day or 15th day, the day after she arrived, broke retention. But I remember saying to myself on the 13th, 14th day, like, I feel unstoppable, I feel powerful. This time it's different. And I have to admit, because during that time, I was still indulging uh, in watching the internet, right? Seeing the explicit images. And I think it builds a different foundation. Intention, interaction with the world alone, to where I would still kind of have a stigma talking to women and stuff. More prone to sexual thought, maybe, or desire, because I still look at it. But I'm not indulging, I'm just looking at it. And now it's different because, like, and I have to admit, sometimes I do look at women, but there's something different where I'm just appreciating the beauty as a whole. Like, just looking at their face, their glow, their, just as a whole person, not really as an object so much, objective. But the intention, and that's for everything in life. This is a frequency. Tesla said, think in the world as frequency and vibration. And these words, vibration, God spoke and there was light. We're so powerful. You don't even know. And for a man, in Think and Grow Rich, they say it's flowing like a river. And you can't just block it. It's going to build up and break through. You have to diverge it, redirect it. As a man, this energy is creating life. That's the purpose. You're so powerful, you are creating life. And in no way, shape, or form is this to say down on women. Women are powerful. If it wasn't for a woman, I wouldn't have seen my mother responsive. I wouldn't have gone and had closure with my sisters. Women are there. You're supposed to listen sometimes. That's what I'm learning, because my macho mojo man was like, I'm not going to listen to this woman. I'm going to do what I want, you know? So this whole thing in the last few months has really been teaching me, yeah, you're supposed to use the assistance of a woman. It's not downplaying. Everyone has a role. Man respects God. Woman respects man. Children respect the woman. It's not to be any type of way towards anybody. It's just saying everyone has a role. Everyone's good in a particular area. And also, you do have to submit, surrender to an authoritative figure. Again, not trying to put women out in no type of way. Because at the very most, the Bible still says you respect your woman, you honor your woman. You don't beat her or talk to her negatively. But a man has to surrender his will to God. And a woman has to surrender to a man. Not saying you do absolutely everything he says, but he has to be the authoritative. God is the authority. And he'll be a good man if he's truly surrendering to the authority of God. And the mother will be a good woman to the children if she's truly being honorable and respecting God herself. But yeah, I'm just marking this time because personal record, I feel good. I I have slipped up, with the viewing, but haven't so much been getting aroused, rather than I've just been appreciating beauty. But, it's a thin line, because once you start looking at the explicit image, is it really such appreciation? I mean, I can still appreciate it, but then it can very quickly turn uh, into something subjective, right? That may cause you to break that streak. And so I'm just marking this time because I feel as though it's very detrimental. Uh, I'm 19 days into this, and the next couple of days there's supposed to be a supposed snowstorm, perhaps, and I'm supposed to be hitting 21-day streak, which is always kind of been a goal for me. So I think it's a very detrimental time, and use transmute, transfer that energy. I'm aware that I have to do something. That's why, at the very least, work out. But I understand you got to get a job. You got to fill your time with something. Go out and about. Go do something. Don't stay cooped up in the house. If anything, go in the backyard. Start chopping wood. Something. Anything. But really, that power that the man, has inside of you to create life, but not necessarily, you don't really want to have a baby right now, so that should be your signal that you shouldn't really be indulging in it too much. without that fundamentally being your purpose, really. So what do you do instead? If you have this electricity, this power, this energy, thus you are supposed to do something. The last week I've kind of realized up into 12 years old, that first cycle, I was more of a man than I had been in my second cycle. In the 12-year cycles, man. 1 through 12, I stood on business. There was a time where my mama told me we were Jewish, even though coming to find out a couple years ago, that's not really true. I don't think we're really Jewish descent. But because she told me that as a child, I was like, okay, they don't eat pork. I'm not going to eat bacon. My family would eat bacon, go to other family events, and they'd be like, Josh, you're not going to eat? I'd be like, no, no, no. I took it serious. I didn't eat bacon. I was a stronger man as a young man. They'd be like, come on, go ahead, eat some bacon. I'd be like, no. I was more determined. When somebody said, let's do this, and I knew it wasn't right, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. Clear as day. Up into the point where it was between middle school and high school, and this guy, my so-called best friend at the time, wanted to introduce me to smoking weed and alcohol. And I remember when he was telling me about it, I'm thinking distinctly in my mind, I want no part of that. It scared the hell out of me. I'm like, I want control of my thoughts and my body. I don't want to be out of control. It scared me. And yeah, you could call it peer pressure because he came through in the summer between middle school and high school, and he's like, I'm gonna get you high today. And all the time leading up to it, even in that moment, I'm like, oh wow, okay. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, man. But in my brain, I'm scared as fuck. I'm like, oh shit, no, 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 no. 1 through 12. Before 12 years old, it happened like this. Specific house in Stone Oak. My dad was running Healthy Tap with a friend. They were the founder. He was participating, entrepreneurship. So I don't know how we stayed in this house, but it was a nice house. I was in Cub Scouts. The older kids, because my mom ran Cub Scouts during that time. She was the scout leader. Very good at it, by the way. Office administrator. And that's one thing that people say. Even this lady, the kid who I influenced to do editing videos, and he took it and ran with it, but I didn't know that till an adult. But this lady, his mom, we knew them from Cub Scouts. She showed up to my mom's funeral, and that's how effective my mom was. And she even said, you know, I was always astonished with Candace and the way she would prepare everything and have these field trips and everything. My mom did that when I was homeschooled, right? Had field trips. I went and saw all this missions and all this stuff. She was very good at that stuff. Anyway, during these Cub Scouts, so my mom's the scout leader, and we had a bunch of kids coming. My dad always had a thing where every Saturday we go to Home Depot, we work on little projects. He liked stuff like that, you know. We did some woodworking, had all these older kids come, and I built a bench, simple bench, out of wood. I built it, and it's still in use today. My dad still uses that bench. And how long has it been? I wasn't even 12 years old, man. And I built a bench that still stands today. So, all before 12 years old, I really got into woodworking, using table saw, using tools, all this stuff. I got into woodworking. I was grilling. I was a grill master during the time. I was just a kid, and people were like, "Whoa, this is amazing," you know? Because I would actually just sit there and I'm saying, I'm not leaving the fire at all. I'm watching the fire when I start it. I'm staying with the food while I cook it, and my food came out perfect every time. Even adults were that came over for family events were like, "Wow, you know what I'm saying? You're a young man and you're still doing it." And I remember because during this one event, I believe it was Mr. Campbell. I'm not sure, but he was like, because he was a grill man too, and we were talking and stuff. And a part of it was because I'm shy, but a part of it was because I had a rule that I don't leave the grill at all. I'm gonna stay here with it while it's cooking. So while everyone was inside, I was like, "Nah, I'm staying out here." And that man came out and talked to me, and you know, that's a memory for me. But um, man, discovering woodworking, started grilling. These are things that stick with me to this day. I got a grill, a smoker back out there that I haven't even used. And I got oak wood or a pecan wood from this pecan tree that's dying, but there's still some good wood that's chopped up. And like I gotta start grilling on it. And my girlfriend's uncle told me at a Christmas party, like, you know, you should use it. You should light that fire, even if you don't cook anything on it. Like, just light it and use it. I haven't used it yet, and I got it for Christmas. But still, things that stand to this day. Same time I did built that bench, I became a grill master. Better than I am now, because you know I haven't done it in a while. And when I do it, it's like, to me, it's like, you know, it's good, but not like when I was a kid, man. But I was grilling. The woodworking led to me building garden boxes. We discovered a book by a man who did 4x4 square foot gardening. You know, so practically you're able to put these garden boxes anywhere. You could put it on the grass, you could put it on concrete, you know, but the whole objective is that it's enough space to do some gardening in a box, you know, without having to till the ground and etc. And I remember during that time, so the woodworking led to me building garden boxes. Um, and I had a green thumb. You know, I'd say I was pretty moderate at it. You know, it inspired something to a degree where even now I want to do gardening. But the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking all the stuff that I did as a kid before 12 years old. Because I remember 12, 13, stopped everything, all that shit. I've really been lost since 13 years old. Um, and that's really when I started smoking, was about 12, 13, between then. But during that era, started the gardening boxes, which led, well, I always enjoyed the gardening. During that time, I was also making videos, James Bond parodies, but I took that stuff serious, and that's what inspired my friend at the time to do his own video work, and he, you know, went on with it. And my during that in that house, my dad taught me how to make my first $100 cutting grass. We saw overgrown grass, and there was a real estate sign outside for rent or whatever, and he taught me how to call them and get them. They say, "Hey, you know, gave me a script. Your yard looks like it could cut. You know, could use a cutting. I'll do it. Whatever." Started cutting grass during that era. Made my first $100, and I remember thinking, "Wow, I'm rich." But throughout a week, didn't have it anymore because I spent it all. And I know specifically, I just went to Dollar Tree all the time, got candy, all this crap, had nothing to show for it. So I was able to make it, just spent it like trash, and that's something I'm still dealing with to this day. I'm able to make it just fine. But it's like once I get it, just spew it out on bullshit. And so that later on, last few years, leads to me being depressed because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like I'm running in circles, you know, making the money, but I'm fucking spending it on jack shit. Anyway, so that house did the woodworking, garden boxes, gardening, grilling, learned how to make my first $100 cutting grass. The next house uh, focused solely on videos and editing, but that's also where I discovered pornography, excuse me. And the house after that started gardening again, made the garden boxes. My dad was still trying to inspire me with entrepreneurship. There was a Rainbow Gardens, there's a gardening center, and we went to the owner and gave him a thing saying we're doing a service where we pre-build the boxes, we go to your house, we have the truck with the soil and nutrients, and we have the pre-made drill holes. So we go to it pre-assembled. We take it to the house, and I think we only did it for one couple, and I never finished it out. I never completed it. But we even had the owner of this gardening place, display our services, display the box saying that we'll come. And what the service was is that we come, everything's pre-assembled, so we just drill the pre-made holes, we drill it together, and then we have the truck with the dirt, fill it with the dirt. So in this house, which is actually the house that my parents got divorced and my mama left, and they discovered that I was smoking, but I did have the gardening boxes. I was still making videos. I was still walking door to door, asking people if they wanted their grass cut. But I think that's why I always enjoyed working with my hands, having something to show and prove for my work. The woodworking, something you still have a bench that stands till this day and is still in use by my dad. He still uses it every single day. Woodworking, the grilling, everyone loved it. Even my cousin, she still talks about it to this day. She's like, "Oh man, you're grilling, man." I was just a youngin' back then. They still talk about how I'm the grill man, and I haven't even done it. I haven't done any of these things in a while. The gardening, you get the fruits of your labor, literally, making vegetables and stuff, grow, having a green thumb, to cutting grass. You have something to prove for it. All that to one of the last houses my dad had. When I got my first car, I started mechanics, able to have a result to prove, diagnose something, fix it. Everything that I've done, I like to work with my hands. Woodworking, gardening, grilling, cutting grass, yard work, pressure washing. I did pressure washing for X amount, going door to door doing that. Pressure washing, mechanics, video making, editing specifically. These are things that I had something to show and prove for. some result, you can look back and say, ah, I did that. That's why I always like taking before and after shots of whatever, because here you go. This is the result, you know? And I think I need to get back to that. Whatever it is. It's been different things throughout the years, but I think all those things that I've stated is really what makes me. It's at my essence, and it's what I want to do at the end of my days, whatever it is. I want to build things out of wood, a house. I want to do gardening, feed my family. I want to grill and stuff. I just want to provide the food. Filmmaking. I enjoy making imagery, combining it with music, having people react a certain type of way. Everyone loved my videos, and I was just a kid, and everyone would just view it like it was a movie premiere. Everyone's sitting around saying, "Oh, the mechanics, able to diagnose my own father's car, like able to fix, at the very least, find out the issues that nobody else was able to find out." I like the work itself too, because at the end of it, you're like, okay, there was a problem, now it's resolved. I like having something to show for my work. And I think that's why I've gone array all these different directions. Fast food, warehouse work, it's nice. It keeps the money in, but it's not really what I care about. And at the very least, you should be working hard enough to leverage that so you can do what you desire. But I think that those are things that I need to get back to. The essence of really what made me. you know. But yes, it's a capitalist world, and you gotta get it, man. You gotta get to it. Just food for thought, I guess.